101.1 Riverwest Radio. My name is Kyle. Joining me as always is Milwaukee Bucks ambassador, coolest rapper in Milwaukee, best rapper in Milwaukee, father of the year, father of the century, Milwaukee, just Milwaukee, basically the king of Milwaukee. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wave Chappelle. How's it going, Wave?
What's up? What's up, man? I like that one, bro. I like that
I
one.
know I'm just like
Come on.
freestyling. I'm just trying to add more stuff to your accolades, but you kind of just do it on your own. But we got a very special guest today. Very
Absolutely.
excited to have him on. He's a Canadian rapper born and raised in Edmonton and now based in the Six, aka Toronto. His first album, Breaking Kayfabe, came out in 2005, and his newest project, Roller Coaster, drops on April 19th, which is literally 2 days from now. Ladies and gentlemen, he is our second Canadian guest of all time, and actually our second Polaris Prize winner. The very talented, very, very talented, with a very, very cool name, Cadence Weapon. What's up, Cadence? Mr. Weapon, can I call you Mr. Weapon?
Ooh. Yeah, people always call me Mr. Weapon. That's cool.
Mr. Weapon's a badass name, bro.
Hey man, that's who I be. Who's
Hey,
the other Canadian you had?
Avaya Mighty.
Avaya
Oh
Mighty.
yeah, I know her. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
great.
I bet you
Yeah.
guys know, I'm sure. What's the scene like? I mean, you have obviously, so your first album, what for one, are you a wrestling fan?
Yeah, well, I was more when I first started, when I was younger. I'm not
Yeah.
like super up on it today. Although I say that as someone who just got a Sting shirt in the mail from eBay. So like maybe I still got
Yeah.
the vibes.
Yeah.
So Wave, the term kayfabe, I'm trying to like figure out the best way to explain it to a non-wrestling fan. So kayfabe is like basically the idea of wrestlers keeping like their gimmick up in public. So like a pro wrestler back in the day before everyone knew that wrestling was like fake or
Right.
predetermined, like they're living their character like out in the world. So anyone that's talking to them, they're getting, The Rock. They're not getting Dwayne Johnson. They're getting The Rock. So kayfabe is the idea of like um the like image of like keeping the veil up, so to speak.
For sure. No, I
Yeah,
get that. I get that. And let's be clear, I'm a 90s wrestling fan. I'm
yeah,
I'm like early 90s through like maybe 2007
yeah,
prime wrestling fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's.
yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm with you. I don't know what's going on today, but like
Oh,
you
it's hot. It's
talking.
hot again. Thank you to The Rock. Basically,
Yeah, Prime, Triple H, Chris Jericho, all of that good stuff. We there.
yeah. We had Chris Jericho on our show once too.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he said
crazy.
that he and Wave were gonna beat each other up. Wave was not there for that one, but I let Chris Jericho know that. I mean, Wave, you said Chris Jericho is one of your favorite wrestlers
For
of all
sure.
time. Yeah.
For
So
sure.
why don't let's talk about your newest project. So I've gotten the chance. You have a couple singles off of it. I've gotten the chance to listen. So it's electronic beats, kind of a whole diss album towards technology and how the internet just isn't what it's used to be. So why don't we start with that? What do you think? What sucks most about the internet these days?
I think one of the things that's most annoying about the internet for me right now is just how difficult as an artist, Wave, maybe you can speak to this as well,
Mhm.
how difficult as an artist it is to get through to your audience on the different platforms. Because
100%.
I remember what it was like in early internet time, because like my first record and stuff, how I first got popping was off of blogs and message boards and that kind of online thing, and I was more early on that, and that's actually how I initially got a record deal.
Mhm.
Um but I can't imagine the same thing that happened to me back in like 2004 2005 happening to like a new artist today. Now
Mhm.
it's like, okay, you got to play the game, you got to do TikToks, and you got to have your socials going crazy,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you got to jump through all these hoops. So that's the thing that I think is most annoying, is not even just as an artist but also as an individual. I think
Mhm.
it's you can't just post what you want to post all the time.
Yeah, yeah, man. Definitely to piggyback off what you were saying. I'm very similar. Like I got my record deal in 2014, which was kind of the shift. It was like right in the middle between the blog era shifting into the streaming era. And so I kind of watched it happen in real time as well, where it was like the stuff that I was dropping was getting directly to everyone that followed me. All the people that were coming to me were able to see, all the everything that I was giving. Then that shifted into now, maybe 10% of your following on all across all platforms, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, maybe 10% of your following sees it. So I'm with you on that. It's a struggle, man. Yeah, it's annoying. It's a struggle. It's hard. They want you to pay for the promo. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, bro.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll tell you, man, like having an album rollout nowadays involves all these different expenses that people don't really know about. You
Mhm.
know, to just break through that algorithm. You're constantly, it's funny, this entire promoting my album, the thing
Mhm.
that worked the best by far was I did a TikTok of my top 5 favorite sub sandwich restaurants in Hamilton in Ontario where I live now, and
Yeah.
it went crazy. It went like super viral. And at the beginning, I was like, "Hey, I'm playing in Hamilton on this date. Let me tell you about some subs."
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how you get the message across. But it's just kind of crazy that you have to kind of like Trojan horse everything in.
For sure, for sure. Kind of leads me into I wanted to talk about the song "Press Eject" because that song is super, super, super dope. Kind of basically you pretty much touched on in that song everything that we're talking about right now. Kind of just give me how that song came about, man. It's really dope. It's probably one of my favorites I heard from you. It's fire.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I feel like that song, I've for a long time I wanted to write a song that was like a kind of freelance anthem or something, or just for the kind of like online internet generation, just like an anthem um of fighting back. I have this whole idea of techno revolt. That's what that
Mhm,
song is about.
mhm.
Rather than, I feel like now people don't understand versus like the beginning of the internet, like early internet. Like I was there from the very beginning. I don't know about y'all. Like
Oh,
I remember I
the
remember
internet was dope back in the day. I'm 35, Wave's 30. You're a couple years older than me, but yeah, the
yeah.
glory years were far, far past them, unfortunately.
Like
Dial
it,
up,
wa-
man.
it was dial up. I was about to
I
say
love,
that
man.
was
You
the
had to work
craziest.
hard. You had to wait a long time to see or listen to the things you wanted to see or listen to.
We had artisanal websites. It was like the slow internet movement.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's really just I wanted to make just an anthem of techno revolt and just really remind people who were there back in the day what it used to be like and what it could be like today. And also for younger people who were not around and who have no idea, it's like we used to have a lot more control and a lot more agency in how our messages were getting across. And I just wanted to highlight that in the song.
Yeah. Nah, man, it's dope. That one's crazy.
I think
Thank you.
smartphones definitely dumb down the internet a lot because once everyone got smartphones, then everyone can get on the internet. I feel like you just have to work harder to like get on the internet and find the shit that you wanted to like find.
Yeah, and it's like smartphones, it's so much different from back when you just had a flip phone because it was just a phone back
Mm,
then. Like it
Yeah,
really had no other functionality. And
yeah.
now it's just everything in your life kind of revolves around the phone.
Mm,
And I think it's just I just find it really interesting the more we get into the internet and more like app companies and tech companies like trying to get us to use different apps and to use the internet in the way that they would prefer us to use it.
mm,
The more we seem to be getting more and more far away from communicating with each
mhm,
other.
mhm,
oh
And
mhm.
yeah,
it feels like even if you look on Twitter nowadays, like there's so many bots, and it feels like to me it's getting to the point where it's just going to be a bunch of computers talking to each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a there's a theory. It's the dead internet theory that
Yeah.
basically like 90% of all the interaction you see online, like Reddit, these big sites, like it's all fake people, and it's these companies like basically buying up all these fake accounts to push narratives, whatever that narrative. It could be music, it could be anything political, it could be anything. But it's the idea that yeah, and they've like kind of dumbed down the internet where there's pages that you can't even get to. Like the search engines are like
Mhm.
dialing down. You can't even find shit that you used to be able to find.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Or
I've noticed that.
Who's all doing this to us, man? What are they gonna do? What's next? Are the robots gonna? Is this gonna be like a Terminator situation where the rise of the machines are gonna come after us?
Well, it all starts with my album, man. You
there
know,
Yeah,
you there
you
you
got
there you go.
nice
that's how we're
time,
gonna
bro.
stop
Nice
it.
time.
That's how we're gonna stop it. You got to listen to my record and learn.
There
Sure.
you go. There you go.
Yeah, I like that. And you come from Canadian royalty. So your dad was a legendary hip hop DJ for
Yes, that's right.
CJSRFM, and your grandpa played for the CFL's Edmonton Eskimos for 11 years. He's a Canadian football Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. Well, I mean, what's that like being Canadian, uh, Canadian royalty, basically?
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's like for me growing up, it was just normal. But then it would be once I was getting outside of my family, especially like where I'm from Edmonton originally, which
Mm.
is not really that far from you guys actually.
Really?
It's like north of you
Oh, it's like
in
north of
Canada.
Wisconsin, basically.
Yeah,
That's
it's close.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yep, yep.
yeah. And it's like I find it quite similar. Like I played in Milwaukee before
Nice.
and it feels very familiar to me, you know?
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
but yeah, at that time growing up, like we were basically the main black family in the
Okay.
entire town. Like it was not very
yeah,
diverse, you know.
yeah,
So it was really once I was getting outside my family, people were like, it's like, oh yeah, you're Rolly's grandson. Like everybody like knew who I was before I meet anybody or whatever.
Right.
Mm.
So that kind of black excellence, like that's just like standard kind of way
Yeah.
that the way I was living. So yeah,
Was
it was interesting.
yeah, what was that like? I mean, I grew up in a very small town in northern Wisconsin. One of my best friends, he moved there in middle school. He was a military, like an army brat. So he moved around a lot. White dad, Mexican mother, and he was one of the very like few minorities there. And just like watching him like deal with like just casual joking racism or just like stuff like that, or just being in an environment like having a front row seat to like seeing someone that's completely doesn't look like everyone else and just kind of having to deal with it. I guess what was that like for you?
Well, the thing is, Canadians, they're passive aggressive.
Very passive
They, they
aggressive. Okay.
they won't do it to your face. It's to your back, right? So
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
definitely a lot of microaggressions growing up and just being treated differently than other people. You know, that was kind of a standard thing.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think the main thing with rap, because nobody was really into rap in all of Edmonton, and my dad was basically he was literally the first person to play rap on the radio.
Man.
Mhm.
Um,
Epic.
yeah, like
The Neil Armstrong of Edmonton rap, the first guy to like let everyone know.
yeah, like because he's from Brooklyn originally, my dad,
Mhm.
and so yeah, he basically started the Edmonton hip hop community just like with his show, and people would
Cool.
be calling in, and everyone who listened to his show ended up becoming like an artist and stuff. It was like a whole thing.
Nice.
Mhm.
Um, it's just really interesting coming from a place that doesn't have a really solid hip hop scene because I feel like I really developed more on the internet.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm really indebted to the internet in that way. And maybe that's why I have such nostalgia for the early internet, is because that's really what helped me become who I am today. It's like having access to all this music and a community of people from all around the world who are really into the internet and into the kind of underground rap I liked when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a unique thing.
Yeah. Nah, I wanted to I can attest to that too, man. We did a I want to say this was 2015, 2016. I did a full Canadian tour with Yo Gotti. And man, it was interesting seeing. I couldn't even name you all the cities, but there were certain cities that were kind of like they were ducked off, but they were so excited to have some like hip hop acts there. It was almost like they appreciated it more than the cities in America because they don't get it. It seemed like it wasn't there as much. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
just hearing you talk about it, I'm like, that makes sense now. Like now that it makes so much sense why they were like so turned up.
You
Um,
know, it's super meaningful when we would get
yeah,
like a real artist coming to town. Like
yeah.
I remember the first kind of even like remotely urban related show that came to Edmonton that I went to
Mm.
was Boys to Men and Montel Jordan.
Oh man.
That was the first thing, and
Yeah,
that
some
was at a
people got lucky
stadium.
that night at that show. After that show, people
Oh,
were
oh my God. That was yeah, that a lot of children were made for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But it was like very rare that, the artists that we would see on like BET or whatever would
Mhm,
actually come to Edmonton.
mhm.
So yeah, people go crazy for the artists who actually show up and play.
Yeah, I gotta ask you about this food. It's called it's a dish in Canada. It's called is it called the poutine? The poutine?
Poutine,
not poontang.
The,
not the
the,
poontang.
no, 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 no.
I mean, we have that too, but
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
poutine.
The poutine.
Yeah,
Team.
So
poutine.
so to my knowledge, I want you to give me the background on it, but to my knowledge, it's basically all these things mashed into a bowl, correct?
Fries, gravy.
I mean, it's not like mashed. Like, let me put it this way.
All right,
It's
go ahead, explain it.
So poutine is it's French Canadian
Got
dish. And really, if you want to get the real one, you got to go to Quebec.
Got
And
you.
I used to live in Montreal for many years, so I became an expert on poutine. And in French, poutine basically means like mess. It means like a big mess,
Right, right.
which is basically what it is. So it's like fries, gravy, and the cheese curds,
Yes.
and you put it all together, and it's just a great late night food. And there's
Yeah.
all these different varieties of it too. Like my favorite has chicken and peas in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, like it's a pretty crazy dish.
I eat
Yeah,
all.
we after the show, we were like looking for food, and they're like, "Oh man, there's this poutine spot. Like, you got to try it." I'm like, "Yo, what is that?" And no one could really like, explain it to you. And I'm like, "I'm not gonna lie, bro. I just want a burger and some fries." And they literally let you order burgers and fries, and they bring it in the bowl though. Like they put it all in like a bowl. I was like, "Yo, this is
Everything
interesting."
becomes poutine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it is like fries, right? It's just crazy fries.
yeah. I just had to ask though, because you like authentic Canadian. You know what I mean?
No, I'm like super Canadian. Yeah,
Yeah.
You were
that's
also
crazy.
in 2009. You were sworn in as Edmonton's poet laureate for a 2-year term, where you served as the ambassador of the literary arts. So this is a real title. The government officially appointed you as a poet for 2
Yeah,
years.
That's
yeah. That was
fire.
What
yeah, that
the
was
fuck?
crazy. So think of it like how Kendrick he had the Pulitzer Prize. It
Yeah.
was like that for me in Canada in Edmonton,
Mm.
right? So I was repping Edmonton and I was like the literary ambassador. So it's like I'm playing shows everywhere, and I'd be like, "Hey, poet laureate of Edmonton." And
Mm.
so I also wrote a lot of poetry for it too. Like I would be reading it, they'd be opening a building in Edmonton, and I'd pull up and read a poem.
Oh shit! Cadence weapons here.
Yeah, that's basically what it was like.
Yeah.
Well,
No, that's
that's
fire.
a really cool. That's a really cool honor. So I take it, Edmonton. I mean, you're a legend. Just the legend of your family just continues on in Edmonton.
Yeah, I get a lot of love in Edmonton. Like
It's good.
there's a statue that I kind of collaborated on where it's like all my lyrics
Mm.
of a poem I wrote are in my handwriting all on this bronze statue, and it's like in the middle of downtown.
That's
Nice.
great.
And then there's
Man.
like all these flags going across downtown on all the posts, and it's another poem I wrote. It's
Damn.
like yeah, it's like it's hard to like avoid me if
Yeah,
you're
no,
in
you're the
Edmonton.
guy, bro. You're the guy.
Yeah.
People like any artist that want to perform in Edmonton, they got to call you first, right? So you give them the okay. It's a
Yeah, they got to
no-fly
check
zone.
in. They got to check in with me.
Gotta tap in. They gotta tap in before they hit the
They got to
scene.
tap in. No, but they got to tap in with me, but only for restaurant recommendations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really, yeah, it's pretty chill.
Yeah. Nah, that's fire, man. I want to give you your props. There's a bar you said, bro. You said you could sign a book deal with my notes app. That's crazy. That's a bar. That's a
That is
bar.
that is hard.
It's
I'm all
it's
up. Go ahead.
it's no rap cap too. It's all facts.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, man. I'm all about the bars and the punchline. So I gotta give you credit. What inspired the up tempo like direction you took with a lot of these current songs?
That's a good question. So I've been really interested in electronic music for a long time, even from the very beginning. And I used to rap over faster beats and stuff at my shows, but I never had it on any of my records. And so I was like, I really would like to have that side of my music on at least one of my albums. So that was like something that I was really interested in doing, but also I was just really listening to a lot of kind of Detroit techno,
Yeah.
electro from Detroit, and even like the kind of 80s. To me, the music that I'm rapping over, it sounds futuristic, but it's also kind of early hip hop stuff too, in a weird way. Like if you think back to like punk rock rap, like old records where it's like fast and it's like
Yeah.
they're rapping over it, it's kind of electronic.
Mhm.
I was bringing that energy back again.
Yeah. No, it's dope. It's dope. It definitely I mean not to compare, but like when I hear the drums, the way the drums are hitting, it kind of reminds me of like some of Kanye's Yeezus,
Yes.
which was a
You,
mhm.
it's funny that you say that because it's like when that album came out, I was like, ah, fuck.
Yeah.
Because the shit really reminded me of my like first album,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
right?
I listened to a couple songs off your first album. Yeah, you were doing the electronic, you were rapping over electronic beats. Man, I don't know if I would have known. Like I think I was like 15, 16 when your first album dropped. I don't know if that shit probably would have blown my mind because I'd be like, I've never heard anything like this. The type of rap I was listening to. around that time. So how'd like what did your peers say like in those early years? Because I feel like your sound, I mean, you obviously very unique sound, maybe not what everyone was expecting. Oh, we got a rapper from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and he's
Yeah.
rapping over electronic beats. There's a lot to process there.
Hmm. Yeah, no. So in my local scene, I was kind of the weird guy
Yeah.
because I was also younger than everybody, and I wasn't rapping over the typical kind of boom bap.
Mm.
And I was also kind of on that early hipster fashion style at the time. So it was like I was, I was kind of dressed like Pharrell or something,
Yeah.
and I'm rapping over these weird beats. Everybody just thought I was just weird and crazy, the young new generation guy.
Yeah.
Young
But I think,
whippersnapper
yeah, yeah, and
messing up the music.
on top of that, I was just trying to fuck shit up, like,
Yeah.
pardon my French, but I was just trying to
Yeah.
go crazy and make the
Take the
craziest
table
thing
up.
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's how my peers felt about it, I think. Like, I think especially when I started getting more recognition, and it was just kind of like, oh, it's this guy making this weird music that's getting
Like there he
but
is again.
that's
We
the
can't get away from this dude.
but that's the thing. Like, I feel like I was kind of like the Kid Cudi of my town.
That's hard.
I
I
think
like
it's like a really like it's a good comparison because he's from like Ohio.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure, for sure. What I mean, I love the name. What went into the name? I mean, I'm a name guy, you know what I mean? My name was Wave Chappelle. So I'm like, anytime I find come across like some really unique names, I'm just like, yo, that's fire.
Yeah, that's cool. Like my name, it was like my mantra for a
Hmm.
while. My cadence is my weapon. My cadence is my
Right.
weapon. And I used to freestyle, and that would just always keep coming up when I'd be freestyling.
Mhm.
And then I just thought, like, man, I need to just like condense that cadence weapon. And then
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, that is exactly like what I want to do. Like, it's like I want my music to be like my weapon, and to create change and do things and with the music.
Yeah, for sure. Did you go by anything else prior to that?
Yeah, my first rap name was Payroll.
Payroll.
Yeah, because
That
my name is Rolly.
Oh, that's
payroll's
hard.
not bad at
That's
Yeah,
all.
hard. That's
yeah,
hard.
Payroll. But it was like, I feel like it was like you'd expect me to be rapping about like money
Yeah,
and
getting
stuff all
that
the
bread and
time.
like,
Like,
yeah, yeah. You
yeah,
that sounds like a hustle rapper, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
yeah,
Wave, did
yeah,
you have
like,
any names before Wave, Chappelle?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, 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 for sure. I was Astro. I was a Astro boy. I got locks now, but I used to have this all through like eighth grade through like high school. I had this crazy high top where it was like slanted a bit, like pointed. And then I had another piece in the back that was pointed like the anime character Astro Boy.
Right.
And so you know what I mean? I just went by Astro Boy and I was rocking with it for a minute, but everybody just started to call me Wave. So I was like, I mean, I gotta go with the thing that's hot, you know what I mean?
You got to ride the wave,
I
right?
ride the wave. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When's
Yeah.
so you've been doing this almost 20, I mean longer than 20 years, but from your first project to now this one, how many official projects are we in now? What release will this be?
This would be my sixth album. Yeah.
Mm. Hmm.
And it's really crazy to think that, because it's like my first album, I made it when I was like 18.
Yeah.
And it did get a lot of recognition. Like, it was nominated for the first Polaris Music Prize, which is a big award in Canada. And
Yeah.
then my last album, I won the Polaris Prize for the first
Mhm.
time. And it just kind of feels like only now am I really learning how to make music.
Mm.
Like, I feel like I just figured it out exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
funny.
No,
life
that's dope.
we all got to
What's your
be like lifelong students in this game of life, right?
Yeah.
Nah, for sure. I feel like in the music space nowadays more than ever, I feel like longevity is such a thing. Like it's more tangible than maybe it was, I guess in the early 2000s or even the 90s.
Oh, do we lose Wave?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. That's something that I think about a lot. Like, actually seeing here, 20 years later. Um, I think for me, it's the fact that I've had a certain level of consistency with what I've been trying to do and with my message, and just I always I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to like making my records and stuff, and I really want a certain level of everything has to be at a certain level, and
Yeah.
I think people have come to expect that from what I do, and it keeps people interested in the next thing I'm gonna do, and then they don't think I'm gonna just come out with something that's just like a throwaway record ever. Like it's like I have a lot of attention to detail with like everything that I do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Nah, that's dope, man. I'm definitely somebody that's very I don't want to say sensitive, but I love seeing artists embrace longevity, you know what I mean?
Mhm,
Especially in hip hop, because a lot of times, prior we're told, oh, this is a young man's game, or
mhm.
you're only able to do it, for so many years because you're hot. But now, like, you see even Jay-Z, somebody like Jay-Z drop an album at 50 years old, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
it be so well received. So it's
And I think that's great, man. Like I think it's great that we got out of that pigeonhole way of thinking like, oh, if you're old, you're washed.
Mhm.
Like that 444 was a masterpiece, great record, and it
Yep.
just shows that you can still have your pen, it doesn't matter how old you are.
Yep. Killer Mike, 40 something, just won his first Grammy. And then even just recently, Future is, I believe he's getting near 40. He just dropped 2 albums in 2 weeks. So, you know, I think, yeah, more than ever, longevity is the thing now in hip hop. So
And the other
Currently,
thing I'd say about longevity too is that it's important to just be true to yourself.
mhm.
And I think everything else kind of works itself out. Like I feel like people always like ask me how I decide what kind of direction I'm going to go musically or how I'm going to change anything, but it's like I have such a very clear, distinct vision for everything I'm going to do that it's not even a question to me. Like I just always know what I want to do next. Like I already know what the like next album's going to be in my mind. Like that's the way I think, and I feel like that's what's helped me have longevity is that kind of clarity of
Yeah,
intent.
absolutely.
you ever get, um, I mean, as someone who's been doing this for a while, the ebbs and flows of your career and just seeing that the music industry has changed since you entered. I guess have you ever gotten discouraged? Were there years where you were really, really pissed off at the way things were going?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I've definitely had so many ups and downs in the industry. Like I had for my first three records, I was signed to just this terrible record label that they just kind of disappeared. And they don't exist anymore. And they also managed me too. So it was just like a really messy situation that I had to extricate myself from. But ever since I did that, things have been going great. That's the funny thing is like sometimes as soon as you get rid of the people who were in charge of everything, suddenly things just start working way better. I love
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you wrote a memoir, 2022, bedroom rapper, cadence weapon on hip hop resistance and surviving the music industry. So how did you manage to survive the music industry?
Yeah, I mean that's the question, right? That was really between my third and fourth album, there was a really long gap. Like there was uh it came out the third one came out in 2012 and then the next one came out in 2018. So in between that time, like I was dealing with the old label stuff. I had moved from Montreal to Toronto at that time, and it was just really I had basically had to restart my entire career. I had to get a new like booking agent, had to get a new label, had to get a new just everything, all the management and everything, and I just had to do it myself. And it was really incredibly challenging, and there are moments where it's very discouraging. But I think deep down, I always knew that I had something to say still, like that I still had something to share with an audience and that it was like meaningful for me to continue on. And it's really gratifying to see people caring about what I'm doing now. And winning that Polaris, that was just obviously like the best feeling ever.
Yeah.
To come back from like totally like zero, like rock bottom to get all the way to like the top of the country, it's good.
Yeah. Nah, man, I can attest to that. Hearing that is inspiring for me because I've also, in a very similar way, got the record deal. I'm in this like major label situation, part of the machine, and then having to go back, take a step back, unplugging from the machine, can be such a draining experience. You know what I mean? You got all these people that are now like, oh, what's the next move for you? What's the next step to, climbing back, you know what I mean? Climb back to that position to triumph. So, you know what I mean? That's dope. I love to hear that.
No, for sure, man. I think the number one thing is when you realize what you're capable of too, you were used to having all these other people doing all this other stuff for you. But once you realize that you actually have all the skills within you to do it yourself, it's very empowering.
Mhm.
It's very empowering. And once I went through that experience, I felt like, oh, I was like, I can do anything now, you know?
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
Who's on the Mount Rushmore of most famous Canadians of all time? I'll go first. This was my list. Is it 4
Okay.
or 5? Is it 4 people or
It would
5?
be four.
Mount
Hey,
Rushmore is
hey,
Well,
man, it's your country. I
yeah,
don't, I
you're
don't
right.
fucking
What are all right, the Canadian Mount Rushmore. I mean, we got to go Wayne Gretzky.
Okay.
Got to go Drake.
Yeah.
Got to go. I would say Bret the Hitman Hart because I'm a big wrestling fan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I mean, I like Ryan Gosling a lot. I'm just throwing him up there. He's cool.
Yeah. Right now, he's going crazy for sure.
Yeah. What would yours be?
Well, okay. So for me, I'd have to put in Celine Dion.
Ah, Celine Dion. Yes,
Yeah, the queen herself. She's got to be up there.
she does.
Um, I like that Gretzky. I mean, that's Edmonton vibe. So I am
Like
partial
Shania
to
Twain,
that.
she's from Canada too.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe Shania as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Nelly Furtado.
Ooh,
Ooh, that's a good
good pick.
one. That's a
Yeah,
good
I made a song with her actually.
Really?
one.
I did.
Woo!
Yeah, I never put it out. See, that's the thing. I'm
What's
like
wrong with
crazy.
you?
I know I'm
Yo,
crazy, but it
yo.
was like it just wasn't the right song. But
Yeah.
it was like yes, it had Nelly Furtado on, it, and she did it in the studio, and she did her thing, and she was amazing in the studio. That was the other thing too. Like she was like it was like seeing the most crazy like one take rap, but singing.
Mm,
Yeah.
I was like, good God, she just pulled up and like did it with no problem, like, and it was exactly perfect. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Is it one
like
of those
wow.
things you like see someone so talented that it like makes you mad at
Well,
yourself?
it's like I was just kind of like hypnotized
Yeah.
because it was just like, well, is this woman from my childhood? And then she pulled up and just did the craziest verse.
Yeah,
It's so fire. Yeah. So shout out to her.
yeah.
Couple more
Shout out.
questions
Maybe,
before we let you go. What's the plan for the rest of the year?
yeah. So I'm a relatively new parent, right?
Congrats.
Oh,
So yeah,
congrats.
yeah. I'm in the dad gang as well. So
Welcome. Welcome.
yeah. He just turned 6 months 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
far, so good.
I'm loving it, man. Yeah, it's been really an enlightening experience. I feel like I'm reliving life again or something, like just seeing it through his eyes. It's amazing.
Mm.
Is that all you feel, Wave?
Yeah, man. I think it's definitely rejuvenate. It's like rejuvenating. You get used to, you get used to the grind of just you grind, and you kind of get used to that and you're accustomed to it. But then when you have a kid, it's like all of that just is not crumbles, that's the wrong word, but it's just revamps. It's a
Hmm.
whole new, it's like a whole new, like you said, like you're living like you're living a whole nother life.
How old is your kid?
My boy is 2. My boy is 2.
Okay,
I
cool.
got a 2-year-old, and he's full of life, man. You know what I mean? He kicks it, and it's awesome to, as he gets older, he just finds all these things. And it's inspiring to me as well. Like as a dad, as your kid starts to learn things and grows, you grow as well. You know what I mean?
Hmm. And
Yeah.
so do you have any tips, things for me to look forward to?
Oh, 100%, bro. You're just gonna be patient with yourself. The diaper changes are gonna get way smoother. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Everything, I'm sure sleeping is probably easy right now. The sleep,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
night times it's gonna change. It's gonna change. But what I can tell you is as he gets older, less picking up. You know what I mean? Of
Mm.
course,
Mm.
you wanna rock him and all of that. But as he
Hmm.
gets older, less picking up because then he's gonna get used to chilling. Like he's gonna get used to going to bed by himself. And yeah, man. And yeah, enjoy it, bro. It's dope.
Wicked. Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
loving
Yeah.
Wave, hit him with our go home question.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, man, this is the last question we like to ask all our guests, man. We have some really extraordinary guests that come on the show and always in very insightful and just impactful people. So can you leave us and the listeners with a mantra that you live by? It could be deep, it could be super, super simple, but just leave us off with a mantra.
You got bars, Mr. Weapon.
This is something I said on one of my songs, Cinna, be you.
Ooh, simple.
Man, we're gonna have to like put like a video of nothing but everyone's mantras because we could like sell a self-help book with the type of tips we're getting. Well, that was a good one, man. We can't thank you enough. Best luck to you. Did you have a good time today?
I had a wicked time. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. You got to come to Milwaukee again, bro, or get us up to Edmonton. Make the calls. Let us up there.
I gotta pull up. I gotta come back to MKE.
Yeah, bro. There you go.
In a whole nother zone. Yeah. Look, ayy, I'm in a whole nother energy zone. I drop heat, but they sleep on it like memory foam. I touch down and celebrate like I ain't been here before. Take it to the top and make sure that my niggas can go. Spit facts, y'all know. Every time I drop folks, swear they tried to keep us out the game, but the lock broke. Dive for your shorty like I'm jumping off the top rope. And the flow make them go, whoa, I'm Pop Smoke. I shake the room every time I'm making moves. Making tunes, chasing cash, you was chasing views. Grew up on that north side where they take you full. Every time I come up with a flow, bet I make the news. All these niggas claiming that they ghosts, must be April Fools. And your shorty put up to the show like she ain't with you. Shit, she just wanna be around me more. She just want the Dior, some brand new Dior. Ricky Bobby, you ain't first, you in last place. It don't make no sense if you on back chase. Need it now, everything fast paced. Sweet victory, it never leave a bad taste. Yeah. Call it sweet victory, it never leave a bad taste. Feel like sweet victory, it never leave a bad taste. I'm talking sweet like lemonade and champagne. Start the wave and I let them join the campaign. How I do it, I did it my way. I did it independent, so I did it like Jay. Yeah, that mean I got the whole nation rocking. From a dream to a stream to a bank deposit. I turn the fling to a queen if you think about it. I put the cash on the table, she just came to count it. Yeah, I gotta bounce to find benefit and walking with the faith. I've been believing when niggas did it. You know the game, niggas switch up on you any minute. Shit, then hit you up like it's been a minute. I seen that movie 100 times like paid in full. They gon' write the script in they favor to watch you play the fool. I ain't tripping, I'm just chilling with a plate of food. Talking shake and bake, I'ma make it zoom. Ricky Bobby, you ain't first, you in last place. It don't make no sense if you on back chase. Need it now, everything fast paced. Sweet victory, it never leave a bad taste. Yeah. Call it sweet victory, it never leave a bad taste. Feel like sweet victory, it never leave a bad taste.